Hello and welcome to the day 4 of DevGAMM. Well, it's actually meaning the evening of the day 4, and this is the fourth Fireside chat. I actually want to ask Fawzi if he likes DevGAMM and if you watched the 3 Fireside chat before, but we have more pressing issues that talk about pandemic. This Fireside chat about pandemic. As you have noticed, we've just had a very nice warm up, and we've learned a few things about Fawzi. And by the way, Fawzi and we are connecting right now. Yes, right now from Stockholm. Lera is connecting from Minsk, and Karin is connecting from Barcelona. And we're very professional. I like you. You laugh at me. I mean, yes, that's we try to look serious, Lera. So try to look serious and introduce Fawzi to us, please. You've just learned a few things about him, and what's the main thing that you liked?
There are two things that I remember. So first of all, that he and his beard were the main attraction in Japanese and his Japanese office. And second one, that he wrote a book about game design in Arabic language, and I was so inspired by this. This is so crazy for me, in my opinion.
Thank you very much. I like that, writing the book was number 2 in the things you remember, and the beard was number 1.
Of course. That's the most important part.
For the first, I can relate more because I lived in Asia, so I know how.
Growing the beard was much easier, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I remember that Fawzi is head of design at Electronic Arts, and people in the chat, I guess you're here not because of his beard, but if you are, well, you can feel Japanese right now. Karina, what's on your head right now?
In my head is that actually Fawzi is he's been a manager for quite some time. He's been in line management, in leadership position for a long period of time in absolutely different companies across a lot of different cultures. And my question here is, as a manager of 90 people in design team, because I know that you are currently managing a lot of people, how did you repurposed or adapted your team during the last time? Maybe you'll share with us.
Oh, a lot to say about this. Is that it? We're beginning. I'm answering questions now.
Please,
yes, you are.
Yeah, that's the purpose.
All right, cool. So it was it was an interesting challenge. It's unprecedented circumstances that we're going towards. It's literally a sci-fi movie in the making as these things were unfolding, right? And myself and the leadership team at DICE, we got together and we're leading the reports. We're looking at the safety of everybody in our company is the most important thing. So we're looking at what's going on in the world around March, and we go all right. So we need to be prepared so that if the call was we need to send everybody home, that we need to be ready for this. And we've collaborated with everybody in the studio really, and we had our IT team. Those guys are rock stars. If any of them are listening, imaginary hats off to all of you. The amount of work and dedication that they've done is really mind blowing. And then we started talking to everybody. We're right, we need to start for you to be ready for remote access. We've always had remote working environments and setups ready. We've collaborated with studios overseas. We have many people that work remotely or have a different setup. But this is the first time that we're gonna have everybody working remotely at the same time. So we made sure that everybody get your VPN access, get your remote access stuff ready. If you have start encrypting your hard drive so to make sure if you need to get your devices at home, you have that ready. And the IT teams all right, start creating and make sure that those pipelines work. And people were responding immediately, and they're starting getting ready. They're testing these things out. They're posting issues to the chat. The IT guys are jumping in and fixing them. They're like ninjas. Those guys are I'm super impressed. And we're reaching out to other studios in the Stockholm region. Go yo, we're doing this. And we're learning this right now. Let's keep in touch as the Stockholm game dev teams and leadership and share experiences, because we're going into some serious unprecedented territory right there. And then I think once we felt that we're ready, and I think it was maybe 3 to 4 days before the Stockholm region issued the recommendations to work from home, we sent an email going hello, everybody. Considering what's going on and all of this, I'm paraphrasing a lot about the body of the email, but it's it is now optional for you to work from home. So if you would like, or if you don't feel comfortable coming to work, you you can work from home starting tomorrow. And the next day, nobody showed up. So like, yep, all right, cool. Everybody. So like, the word optional and like you can. If you want,
cool.
like, oh yeah, we're absolutely doing that. So everybody started working from home. And then so that's it's like, all right, everybody started working from home. They have equipment there, and that we had our office teams and IT teams started to prepare to send the equipment over securely to everybody's home via courier.
Cool.
So operational
funny-
within a week. So it was very impressive and fast.
My respect for that.
But so far, it sounds as was mostly a DevOps operation, as in no new processes. The processes were good enough. It was like logistics and security.
Yeah. But there are other games that we've worked on in the past between multiple studios across multiple timelines. So like, in Battlefront, we collaborated with Criterion and Motive. On Battlefield 5, we collaborated with Criterion, and they're like in the UK. So we've had collaborations in the past between like studios on project. We worked a lot with DICE LA, for example, which is in Los Angeles. So collaboration between studios is not something that we are uncommon. It's part of our DNA, in fact. And all of our, like even our office and on-site, we are equipped for remote access and remote working environment. So our meetings is usually there's the people in the room and there's whoever is not in the room at the time. So I'd say from a pipeline and process point of view, we were ready for this. But the learnings became about how do we take care of our people when they're all working from home at the same time, right? So like, I don't think before 2020 the idea of a AAA game being made from home was something that a lot of people entertained, right?
Like mental care or like what kind of care?
A little bit of both, right? So there's a lot of things that like became apparent the minute we started working from home. First of all, like there's a lot of stress and anxiety around what the hell's going on, like taking care of your people and all of this. So company-wide, we've issued mental health support. So like we've collaborated with a partner, and everybody in the company is entitled for to reach out to a coach and be able to address their anxiety or any mental health issues that they wanted to discuss with them immediately. We set out multiple meetings throughout the day for like stretching your back or like have a fika with your colleagues or like ways for us to communicate and get things to establish virtual communication channels outside of what your day-to-day job is about, but more like a human touch. A human connection.
But working from home was always an option, or it was only after pandemic started?
It was a case-by-case basis. So, but
Okay.
generally, like we were required to work from the office. But like I said, we had the setup to support it for those individuals that were working remotely. We had some people working remotely, but they were the minority. The majority of our studio was at home. So that's why we wanted to establish like, all right, so now, since we're all working remotely, these are like our meeting etiquette. This is what you need to be ready for in a virtual environment. These are now virtual spaces for everybody to connect socially. This is our virtual water cooler, so to say, or virtual coffee machine. So people like, get in touch with each other. Like we realize also not everybody have the setup at home. So we've issued allowances for people to be able to purchase or upgrade their work from home environment. We did that at first as a one-time thing, but now it became regularly. So throughout the course of the year, we've allocated allowances for people to whatever they need. Really, they want a new desk, a new chair. They can come and pick up the chair from the office, and we've also organized that. Or if they want to buy one for their home, they want to like organize things around their home, power bills, whatever. There's an allowance to account for that.
Yeah, a lot of new tasks like popped up immediately. Can imagine or can't, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But can you share a bit more like what happened with your business strategy into 2020? Like how you adapted that? Is that changed or, just elaborate a bit on that from the business perspective?
From a business perspective, it's like, our business is making games, is operating our games that are live or creating new games. That has not changed. I think if what 2020 even proved to us is that there are challenges to have, an entire studio working remotely, but it's absolutely doable. So like we have now homemade AAA games, and what's even more impressive is that we have our
It's just like,
colleagues.
how does it sound? How cool it sounds. I mean, really,
Right? It's like
home-brewed
freshly
AAA
baked,
games.
Homemade.
homemade AAA games. And
Yeah,
Did
like
you make your
cookies.
battlefield at home? Like people in the
Exactly.
chat. Did
From
you
our
make your
home,
battlefield at home?
from our
Homemade.
home to
It's just so
yours.
cool. I didn't think about it from this perspective. Indeed,
Yeah.
your battlefield has been made from home
Exactly.
with electricity bill covered.
Exactly. So it's never been done before, and like it's even more inspiring to see our colleagues in other areas around EA. They're also working remotely, and they're shipping games. So we're in the process of developing and maintaining our live games and stuff like that. And those guys are like bringing games out to market with like Star Wars Squadron or FIFA or like all these other games like coming out this year. Like 2020 of all years. So it was inspiring for us to see those guys doing these things, shipping amazing games, critically acclaimed games, commercially successful games. And we are working on our pipeline, like making homemade battlefields, as you're saying, freshly baked, made with love. Uh,
From
and
Mama's Bakery.
exactly, from our home to
Yeah.
yours.
But
Oh.
but now that people spend more time at home, did you have to, I don't know, to change the business strategy, as in like ship games not by Christmas but in summer, for example, or some other business decisions that you made, like as a business unit, or like
Mhm.
at bigger stage or at smaller stage?
It was impressive that we did not make any, like, we continue business as usual, as usual. But as usual as it gets. Like our planned releases are still, we still ship the games that we wanted to ship this year, as they were announced. So like whatever we've announced, we've managed to keep track on, and we'll continue to do the same. Announce, make our announcements and try to stick to them as much as possible.
Best
So yeah.
of the game industry.
Exactly. But like we managed to, like our Battlefield games are now all on Steam. This is one of the things we wanted to do. They're all released there. We just shipped Battlefield 5 Definitive Edition as well. Our collaboration with Xbox and Game Pass is also coming through. Like the new consoles are dropping soon.
Yes. I'm
2020, what a
subscribing.
year! Exciting,
So,
and also
yeah.
all sorts of new consoles, new viruses, new games. There's never a dull moment.
New viruses. The joke about new viruses.
I was about to ask, you started about new viruses. I wanted to ask you, how are you getting ready for year 2021? But apparently you are waiting for new virus or something.
Or new games about viruses.
Oh, new
Hopefully
games.
the one virus.
This
Hopefully
is
the one
such a
virus.
horrible way of asking this
2021, I'm
question.
ready for new vaccines. That's what I'm ready for.
No, but so okay, vaccine in 2021. Yes, I mean, I guess we can all relate to this. People in the chat, like, I mean, can you shout into the monitor and probably like type something on the keyboard? Are you waiting for the vaccine or for year 2021 as much as we for like four of us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope that it's gonna change, because this 2020 was a disaster.
That's
Yeah.
everybody's favorite year
But
by
what
now.
about you?
Yeah. I would love for 2021 for all of us having this conversation in real life, right? And we share the same space.
With the
Glass
glass
of
of champagne.
champagne.
It's like, there you go.
Everything is always about alcohol.
I wanted to mention alcohol, but I was like, maybe it's a touchy topic. For,
You see, I'm all red now.
It's a reflection of the shirt. That's what it's called.
Yeah. That's my excuse all the time. That's why I'm wearing red a lot.
It's not the champagne that's over there.
Yeah. Right.
So, okay, as far as I understood, in 2021, you're waiting for a vaccine and you're hoping that it's all gonna be over and you will continue working as usual, yeah?
Hopefully, we'll see. So, like,
Okay.
I think like working as usual is the usual is kind of changed, right? Like we can see that like if there's a silver lining to 2020 is that it has proven a lot of like work setups that we already employed can be adapted at a larger scale, and like a lot of companies can and still function in 2020 under different environments. And to some extent, like it really highlights the extent of human adaptability, which is always very impressive to see, right? Like given the circumstances and like no matter how bleak it can be, we will always find ways to connect. We'll always find ways to be human to one another, and we'll always find ways to be optimistic and joyful. And there's definitely sadness and a lot of things that this year has brought to people, and definitely the thoughts to everybody. But it also highlights, human resilience, and that's something that is, for me, I see as something very hopeful,
celebratable. We mentioned champagne, so that's celebratable as well.
Definitely celebratable. Human resilience, prevails over the hardships of times. But from a business point of view, it is definitely has highlighted new opportunities when it comes to working pipelines, to working remotely, to sourcing talent, to how do I say it? Flexibility that companies can offer to individuals, and like how the output and the human element is the most important part compared to the physical or geographical space. So
I can relate to this so much.
Right? Like here we are, 4 of us having this delightful conversation from different parts of the world, and
1,000 people watching us. So,
and all the people are watching us, banging on the chat, wanting vaccines. So that the new normal has changed with all of this environment together. What that normal ends up being in 2021 is something that I'm very excited to see.
It's so fun. Yeah, please.
Okay. That was my next question, actually. I was about to ask you, what are you most excited to talk about right now, actually?
What am I most excited to talk about?
Yes.
Oh, that's on top of your head.
Or
of your heart.
I think we're already talking about, how the studios adapted to remote working. So I think I'm in that mindset. As like I said, it's like the top thing is how are we going to adapt from a game in the industry, but tech industry or other industries as a whole. How did the work remotely or the life environment within COVID really changed how we perceive a lot of things, from essential workers to how we deliver goods to how we work digitally to all of this. I feel like if there's a silver lining to this year is kind of like help push humanity a little bit forward in the forefront. So that is very exciting for me to see.
I'm just thinking, right, I'm trying to build on your narrative on the humanity and resilience. And we're still we're in games making business, game development business. And I'm just thinking, how does the reality that we live in affect the kind of games that we make and play? So, for example, would you like to play I know Frostpunk right now or Fallout right now? It says you look out of the window and it's especially for those people in this chat in Minsk. You look out of the window. It's a really
interesting perspective, actually. I don't know if you guys played The Last of Us 2. It came out this year of all years, right? And as I'm playing it, I played the first one, enjoyed that quite a bit. And playing the second one, there's a lot of things in that game that suddenly have a very different meaning to me. They go into this room and now they're putting a mask on. I'm like, oof, this is too soon. People trying to isolate from each other, or people trying to maybe a little bit more violent than how we social distance, but there is some form of social distancing happening. The fear of the something invisible in the air that is causing our demise, and how it affected how people interact with each other. Right? Are you bitten? Oh my God! If you're bitten, stay away from me. It's kind of like when somebody sneezes on the subway now, and you go we are a much milder version of that, but it is relatable.
Yeah.
It was like I can relate to a zombie apocalypse. I'm like, what is this year?
But like being afraid to sneeze, that's so 2020. I'm like,
Right?
I mean, you can feel one can naturally sneeze just because something
Yes.
like spicy or something, and I'm so afraid to sneeze right now, like in
Man,
anywhere.
I'm surprising myself of my ability to hold my sneezes. I'm like, nose is tingling, and then I'm holding it. It's like, wow, it's been 7 minutes. I didn't realize I could hold it for 7 minutes. And like my nose is just twitching on its own.
Talking about new habits, right?
Right?
Yeah, people in the chat, can you relate to the sneezing in the
Then
subway
relate to the
problem?
sneeze. Oh my god! If I sneeze, if I'm in public, and then look around, and go like,
Yes.
I'm innocent. No, don't shoot me.
I mean, we're laughing right now, but like that's indeed how we feel, and like
Right?
people around us. I mean, like everybody is sort of a suspect. Are you ill? Are you sick? Like, what if like you're
Yeah.
not wearing a mask? What if you're asymptomatic?
It's a
So
very
yeah,
strange thing, right? I'm a person that I'm a hugging person. I like to hug. And like this year sucks for me because like I see my friends and I go like hi or like elbow pump at best. And I'm like, but I miss you. I haven't seen you in ages. I want to
we
embrace you and
sneeze
feel the
in the
human touch.
elbow and then elbow pump. That's how
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
how it works.
Exactly. So like
That's how it works.
I miss when our reaction was to somebody sneezing is that here's a napkin, rather than
Yeah.
here's a flamethrower and I'm gonna like, put you on fire or something like that to defend myself.
Yeah, but I mean, I think like with such a mood as what we have discussed right now, obviously we can make post-apocalyptic games, but can we
Yeah.
make, I don't know, games for kids or less violent
You know,
games? I
you
mean, since
you
this is
you
going through our head, like how do we make games like more casual
So
to help
definitely,
people
like
disconnect?
there is that, like because of this year, and like how I said, like how I feel about like playing a game about the zombie apocalypse, and it's relatable. It's definitely like at this time you start to think about like, all right, so there are issues at our modern time that are now worth addressing that should appear in our games in some way. That we need to take some kind of responsibility, but also if we are going towards escapism, then there are some tough topics that are going to be hard to represent. I'm not sure. Like I think there is a room for both. There is a room for us to address our reality, to address what happened, because games is still an art medium, and an art medium expresses our thoughts and feelings. And there should be games that are dealing with that stuff and like showing that form. And there are games, about escapism, about being somewhere else other than our reality, and then relate to that. But also, it's funny because like there's a game like Animal Crossing, which is totally about escapism and like being somewhere else that is a lot more colorful and whatnot. But I can't look at this game without thinking of a pandemic right now, because it's what everybody played in March. We were all like trapped at home, and like I'm visiting people's homes and collecting coconuts, and like I cannot look at this game right now without thinking, oh my god. I was trapped at home collecting coconuts instead of.
What
instead of
about
being,
Among Us and those costumes they have? Like,
yeah, yeah,
can you imagine yourself wearing that?
Yeah,
To
that would be amazing.
yeah. Those
You
are
can
also
sneeze
costume.
in this costume. You can sneeze
Yes.
right.
safely.
hard out is fine. But I think it's also interesting, like a game like Among Us, it's a very accurate representation of also of our reality. It is a game that is social at its
actually.
core. It's a game that we want to like. It's a translation of games we used to do when we were like together in a bar or together at a friend's place. But it's representing that remotely. It's addressing our needs in some way. We want to
To
connect.
sneeze.
We're connecting a lot remotely. We want to be social remotely, and we want to tease each other remotely. And this game is kind of basically goes like, well, here's your needs translated into a video game. Whether it's intentional or not is a different topic, but it's just the timing came to address our needs, and it's an interesting reflection about like how can the environment or the situation that we're in really translates into the game that we're making. Right?
And we have 30 seconds left. for this session. So throughout the last 24 minutes, we have aligned our views on many things, including sneezing, making games, playing games, looking through the window, and trying to be sane. And we discussed empathy, and it's fun how human capital is something that we all like. And thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Thanks, Fawzi, for being with us, and join us in Discord, where you can also find Fawzi. Follow him on Twitter. Tell him, tips how to sneeze in subway to not get killed. And thank
Also,
you
beard
all.
feedback. Happy to get any beard feedback.
Beard feedback, yes, like I would like to get that as well. You can hear in the chat. And we don't have time for questions, as you have discovered right now. So thanks, Fawzi, head of design of Electronic Arts, the one helped to make Battlefield from home. And bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.